You definitely know it's gonna be a great video when I'm filming my intro from the parking lot of a freaking Lidl shop. But this is a special Lidl. Indeed, this is a Latvian Lidl because I'm in Latvia, but I'm not in the capital of Latvia, which is Riga, but I am instead in rural Latvia. I was actually jumping on a train from Riga earlier this morning to get to this town, which is called Valmiera or Valmaria or Valmiera. I'm not sure, I don't remember, but it doesn't matter because this place is not where I want to do most of my filming today. We've got a mission today, which is storming a former Russian nuclear base here in the Baltics between Latvia and Estonia. This video can either be the best video I've ever made, just because, I mean, it's pretty cool, right? We're gonna be doing some urbexing, a former Russian nuclear base, one of those bases where the Soviets were dreaming that someday they will be able to send a nuclear missile all the way to the United States. So that's pretty cool, but on the other hand, this video could turn out to be an absolute disaster because a vastly overestimated global warming here in the Baltics. So let's just go to the bus station of this town and let's just hope that the Zeltini nuclear base, which is the name of the nuclear base where we're heading to today, is a bit warmer there, just because, I mean, it's a hot zone, or at least it's supposed to be. My shoes are now already super wet. Not a good start to this video, but at least I've made it to the bus station of Valmiera, Valmiera's Auto Osta. So going directly to the Zeltini nuclear base would probably be too difficult, or maybe not necessarily difficult, but it would probably just be too boring really, because I think it's like 5 hours away from this place. So I think I would want to break up the journey and stop in a town not far from Valmiera, which is probably the most interesting type of town that was built during the time of Soviet occupation here. It's a village that is called Seda, and the reason why it's interesting is because it was built anew from scratch in the 1950s, like it very much often used to happen during the time of the Soviets. So it was basically a mono town. There were some mines here and there, so they built some new houses, they settled some Russians there, and I would say that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, at least 75% of the population has abandoned this place. So it's actually gonna be interesting to see what we can find there. And there goes my bus to the village of Seda. Wow, a really nice modern bus. You guys can definitely notice that this is the European Union, right? Hi, Seda. Paldies. I swear after this, I'm never going to set foot inside a crappy marshrutka in the most depressing places in the world. Man, I'm never going to cross the eastern border of the Schengen area ever again. I'm just going to spend my whole life in the European Union. I'm just gonna be traveling on these super modern buses right here. Man, well done, Latvia. And I was reading just now on Wikipedia that apparently the main industry, which is pretty much the reason why this town was founded in 1952, the main industry of Seda is the extraction of this material that I had never heard of before, not even in Italian, not just in English, which is called peat. And in case also you guys don't know what peat is, well, I'm gonna tell you. Peat, according to Wikipedia, is an accumulation of partially decayed vegetation or organic matter, and I guess it's useful for all sorts of industrial uses. And what is interesting is that obviously it used to be excavated all around the wetlands of this area of Latvia, of Soviet Latvia I should say. And it's gonna be interesting to visit Seda, not so much for the abandoned buildings that we are 100% going to find, but more so for the fact that the town is remarkable for its Stalinist architecture, which dates back to the 1950s, which dates back to the glory days of Seda, when workers from all over the Soviet Union came to work for the peat extraction enterprise. Ooh. Paldies. Well guys, I just landed in Seda, and this is paradise. Wow, so this is the main square of the little town of Seda. I'm right here in front of the town hall. Again, very Stalinist architecture. But to be honest, the Stalinist architecture is all you can see around this town. You can see these houses right here. There's not a single house that is taller than 2 stories, because at the end of the day, this is what Stalinist architecture used to be about. Houses like this. Houses like this one, which was later made the town hall of this town, which at its peak was housing more than 5,000 inhabitants. But now only 1,000 people are left living here. And just because of the convoluted history of this place, I've actually read that the majority of this town is actually Russian speaking. I think 70% of the population of this town is Russian, and Latvians, proper Latvians, only make up 15% of the population. You guys can see up there something that is very interesting. You guys can see the year in which this house was built. You guys can see 1955. As I told you, most of the houses, the city was founded in 1952, and I imagine that most of the buildings were built around that time. You can see another one here, right on the opposite side of the street. It says there, I don't know if you guys can see, it says 1954. So you had this house built in 1955 and this house built in 1954. And that's the case, I imagine, for most of the buildings which are now on the main street of the village, of the town of Seda. And the curious thing about this main street right here is that it's got a very socialist name, a name for a street, for a road that is very popular in many cities and towns of the former Soviet Union, which is, if you guys can see, it says there, Miera Jela, which is obviously Latvian, and that's the equivalent of Prospekt Mira, which means Peace Avenue, not Peace Avenue, Peace Avenue. Можно вопрос, пожалуйста? Мира Ела – это проспект Мира, да?
Да.
И Узварас Ела?
Это улица Победы.
А, значит, это проспект Мира?
Да, а
и
это
вот
вот
это Победа. А, окей, понимаю.
Это до Дома культуры. Сталинская.
Ну, все здесь сталинская,
Да,
по-моему.
да. Это проспект Сталина, мы называем. А
Это было проспект Сталина?
ну, тут же был памятник Джейолка Сталина.
Там был Сталин?
Да, там был
Реально, вау. До когда? До 60-х, наверное. До Хрущева?
До Хрущева, да.
So I just asked a random person from Seda, a Sedan, because I was curious about the meaning of this road right here, this avenue, because obviously, as I said, you've got Peace Avenue on this side, and this apparently is also another name that is very common in any city in the FSAU, former Soviet Union, which is Prospekt Pobeda, Victory Avenue. Many towns and cities all over the Baltics had names like that, all over from Lithuania all the way to Estonia, but just as many of these towns and cities had their street names changed after the perestroika, but not this one. Oh, and the guy actually told me a couple of other interesting things. Right here on the main square, where now we've got the Christmas tree, just imagine that up until the time of Nikita Khrushchev in the 1960s, there used to be a freaking statue of Stalin. Jesus. And he also suggested that I should go and pay a visit to the House of Culture, which is omnipresent in any Soviet garadok of this kind. This used to be the main pedestrian street of the town back 50 years ago. This used to be the equivalent to the Arbat. But now, look at this. All the buildings on this street are now abandoned. Both on this side and on that side as well. You've got a rock here which looks like some sort of memorial. Let's actually see if it's just a random rock or if there's actually anything written on it. Nope, it looks like it's a random rock. I have no idea why they have a random rock just laying around here. And then at the end of the street, you've got something that is very cool. So exactly right there where it says 1959, presumably you used to have the hammer and sickle, but now the hammer and sickle in Latvia is no more. So you've got this thing right here. It actually looks nice. I mean, 100%. It's probably been renovated not once, but maybe twice or thrice, just because it's very nice. And I'm also thinking that they're definitely holding some sort of events still. Yeah, wow, look at this. For the 1,000 people that are still living here in Seda, they're still holding concerts and some sort of town events here at the House of Culture. That's pretty cool. At this moment in time, however, it's unfortunately locked, meaning that we can't go inside and visit. You know how I would define this town in one word? Monochromatic. Because most houses are of this yellow right here, and actually on this house, on this specific one, there's something that is fairly interesting, if you guys can see there. You would never think that any fire department in the world would ever need some kind of advertisement, but that's exactly what's happening here. This used to be the old number, back during the Soviet times, of the fire department of this town, of Seda. And I don't know if you guys can make it out by the camera, but it still says there in Russian, Pri požaре звоните 401. In case of fire, please call 401. And in the background, there's also a very washed out image of a fire and a telephone. Well guys, I definitely had an incredible lot of fun walking around the streets of Seda. Although to be honest, I have been taking lots of selfies and really cool pictures, which I'm going to post on my Instagram, so you guys feel free to follow me on there. But truth be told, there's not much else that we can do here, right? So at this point, I would like to propose a motion that we get the hell out of here and we get closer to what is our actual destination for this video, which is the nuclear base of Zeltini. But the problem is that there are not that many transportation options out of Seda. I mean, I found this place, which is like the railway station of the town, but there's a single railway track, which I don't think has seen any train since the last ice age. So the plan is, well, I don't have a plan, so I guess I'll just have to maybe ask around and see if there's any taxi stand or just pay somebody who can drive me all the way to Aluxne, or even better, all the way to the Zeltini nuclear base. But then again, considering that I haven't met a single human being ever since we got off the bus earlier today when we arrived in Seda, I have no idea how. Well guys, the good news is that I've managed to meet somebody from this place. The bad news is that he told me that there's absolutely no way that I can pay somebody or that I can find a taxi to get me all the way to Aluxne, which is the closest town to the nuclear base that I want to visit today. But I've also got another good news, which is I was just posting a story of myself being on this place on Instagram, and somebody messaged me on Instagram, and I kid you not, apparently I've got a subscriber which lives not far from here. And the most amazing piece of news is that he offered to come all the way here and pick me up and drive me to my destination. You guys have no idea how moved I am by the generosity of this guy, which I have never met before, but I mean, I guess I just have to trust my guts. But it does look promising. He said he's gonna be here in 30 minutes, he's gonna drive here with his car, and then we're gonna go all the way to the nuclear base. Let's freaking go! I hope this guy is not too much of a weirdo. Hey, is it Ian?
It's Ian.
Oh, nice to meet you, man!
Hey, David.
Is that your car?
Yes, it is.
What? Well, first and foremost, where are you from?
Now, or where I come from now, or originally?
Like, because you're not Latvian, are you?
I'm not Latvian.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Liverpool, but I live in Estonia.
Oh, okay, so you're living in Estonia, and that's why you said that you were only 30 minutes away, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy. So this is the car that you drive regularly, and you came to pick me up with this very car?
I drive it when I want to have some fun.
Dude, that's freaking crazy. That's a nastayashi London. That's a proper London taxi. So where did you get it from?
I bought it in Liverpool.
So you bought it in Liverpool?
I bought it in Liverpool. I drove it back to Estonia just after Christmas.
And that's like all legal and stuff?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Oh my god, so we're gonna be driving with this thing all the way to a Russian nuclear base.
Hopefully.
That's one of the most badass things that I've ever attempted to do. Oh my god, you guys can see the British target plate. Can you actually drive with a British target plate all around Estonia and Latvia?
Yeah, because it's registered to me anyway.
What was the last thing that I said early on? That I was hoping that this guy was not going to be too much of a weirdo. Well, for somebody to come and pick me up with a London taxi, you're a freaking weirdo, man, but I love you for it.
Diesel.
Diesel.
2.4.
Yeah, 2.4.
Well, I'm very surprised that our car is getting a lot of attention in this smallest town. А как здесь в Седе никогда не видите, никогда не бивают вот эти London taxi. This video, all of a sudden, has taken an unexpected turn because we're just about to attempt the crossing of Latvia on a freaking London taxi all the way to a Russian former nuclear base. Okay, so I think there's like 100 kilometers from here to the nuclear base, so I think we should get going. So how does it work? So obviously you sit on the driver's seat. Is there a passenger seat?
There is no passenger seat.
Okay, so I should. Okay,
you get to sit in the back like a proper taxi.
All right, dude. So let's go.
Okay, let's
You
do
go
this.
there and I jump on here. Okay, mission to the abandoned nuclear bases of Latvia on a London taxi. How was it driving all the way here on the icy roads of Latvia? How was it?
Terrible.
Terrible.
Yes.
This taxi doesn't do very well with ice.
Or snow, or demos, or anything that England generally doesn't have.
Okay, it's gonna be fun. Alright guys, in one of the most fascinating trips I've ever attempted, let me just give you a quick tour of the salon here, of the inside of this taxi. So obviously we've got our friend Ian, who's driving the car. The wheel is on the right hand side just because, I mean, this is a car that came straight out of Liverpool and he drove it, the mad lad, all the way to Estonia. Whereas here, as passengers, there is no passenger seat in the front, so we're relegated to the back side. This is a proper taxi after all. There's a screen protector which is dividing us from Ian, and yeah, there you go. I'm currently sitting here. There's another seat here. You've got your seats here, and we're just driving to the nuclear base like this. I will tell you one thing, dude. I really appreciate you offering to come and pick me up. To be honest, I have no idea how I would have been able to go from this place all the way to the nuclear base. Like, I really appreciate it, dude.
You are more than welcome. I'm excited to see it myself as well.
Nice. Have you ever been to an abandoned Russian nuclear base?
I've never been to a
So it's gonna be fun, right?
Meanwhile, this is Estonia.
Wait, this is Estonia?
Estonia, yeah.
Yo, dude, why did we get into Estonia? The nuclear base is in Latvia. What the heck? Alright, so we just stopped for a second here because we found, or rather we got to a place which is fairly interesting from a geographical point of view. So what happened was that we were just driving by and I got scared for a second because I saw from the window of the car that we accidentally crossed into Estonia, and I was like, dude, where are you taking me? The nuclear base is actually in Latvia. But then Ian was just reassuring me that we actually need to go through Estonia in order to get to the other side of Latvia and get to Aluksne or Zeltini, where the nuclear base is. So basically, I've just asked our friend to stop here for a second because I want to rejoice and have a look at the proper border between Latvia and Estonia. So this is the Latvian side right here, Latvia's Republika. You've got the flags of Latvia, and the border is actually passing through the same town, which is called Valka in Latvian and Valga in Estonian. And here you've got the Estonian flags. So now I'm officially in Estonia.
You can stand right in the middle between
Oh, dude. So now you're in Estonia,
you're in
and I'm in Latvia. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So we're just going to drive like 100 kilometers through Estonia, and then we cross back into Latvia?
And back into Latvia.
Okay, it's gonna be fun. Wow. You guys see I'm standing in two countries at the same time. Latvia and Estonia. I wonder what this used to be like in Soviet times. Like, was there actually a passport control?
There was a passport control right along here.
So you think if a babushka crosses from the Estonian side into Valka, which is on the Latvian side, so you're saying that they speak Russian between each other?
Yeah, I'd say you speak Russian.
Because obviously they don't speak English because they're babushkas, and Latvian and Estonian, despite what most people think, they're not. Like they're not even. They're not part of the same linguistic.
Not even
group.
remotely similar.
Alright, geographic nerds of the whole world, that was an interesting piece of trivia for you. But now it's time to get back on the road because I think sunset is in like 2 or 3 hours, so we better get a move on. Okay, so now we're running into a bit of a problem because obviously this London taxi is not made for roads that look like this, really. So we just deviated from the main road, and look at the state of the road. It's been snowing for the past 2 days. Are you confident enough in going down this road?
Yeah, we cross over into Latvia shortly.
By the way, apart from being very near the border between Estonia and Latvia, we're also very near to the border with Russia as well. So I think Russia is just a few kilometers past this forest to the right here. Oh my god, we're literally in the middle of nowhere now. How does the car feel?
So.
More or less?
So. Not really liking it.
I mean, you can just check the map, and if it's too bad...
This is the only route. I have it set to not use these roads, and it still says that you have to use this road, so...
I mean, if it gets too bad...
This is as worse as it's gonna be, so...
Okay.
Once we get here, we have to turn onto another road. Maybe that one's being plowed. Maybe.
Okay, this is a tricky one because this taxi slides like crazy. Dude, I see asphalt. We're safe. Okie dokie, guys, we have made it. Well, first and foremost, we have made it out of that crazy, scary dirt road where I thought that we were just going to get stuck at any moment. So we got back into asphalt, and most importantly, we got back into Latvia, which means that we are now very close. How long is it left to the place?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay, we're just half an hour away from exploring our very first nuclear base in the channel and in our... Oh my god, that was a tight turn. And yeah, so we're very close now. So supposedly first we're supposed to see some abandoned buildings where the soldiers used to live, and then we should start seeing the actual base with the nuclear missile launch pad. I think we might just need to ask around if we can find somebody. Yeah, okay, so we've just made it to the village of Zeltini, which is super small, but the problem is we actually need to find the actual base. That's the checkpoint. Oh my god. Yeah, just stop here. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it! We've just made it to the nuclear base. This is the checkpoint. So obviously, with this being a nuclear military base, it's not like civilians could easily be granted access to this place right here. So what would happen is that people would drive their cars all the way to here in the same way that we did with the London taxi, and then they would be stopped here just to get their permits checked and just to make sure that they had the right permit to enter this heavily restricted area. So this used to be the guard post, actually, right by where the checkpoint is, where the guards used to live. Let's actually see if we can have a look inside. Oh wow, it's fairly okay. Yeah, it's fairly well conserved, which is great. I mean, obviously there's nothing left inside, and yeah, this is just rubbles. It'll be interesting to see if we can make our way even further to the territory of the nuclear base, and hopefully we'll also be able to see the proper barracks and the houses that were constructed for the soldiers that were stationed here in Zeltini. Okay, so let's try and see if we can get even further, maybe. So just as we were hoping for, we made it to the middle of absolute nowhere, here in a random forest in northern Latvia, and we've pretty much reached the center of this former nuclear military base, and you guys are just not going to believe it, what we found at the center of this base. This is the largest head of Vladimir Lenin in the whole of Europe, and they've put it here at the center of this nuclear military base. That's insane, and it goes so well in tandem with our London taxi. We surely weren't expecting this. Looks like this is some sort of memorial to World War II, just because it says that 1941, and here it says 1945, and there's a couple of extra busts Here, I'm not really sure who these are, just because, I mean, it's so faded out, I can't make out what it says, but definitely the biggest piece of this open air exhibition is definitely this. Who would have thought finding a random Lenin's head like this? So let's see what it says here. Here it's in Latvian. I can't read Latvian, but I can read a bit of Russian, and it says something about, well, the invading forces of Nazi Germany. That's what 99% of the monuments in this part of the world are all about. Wow, look at the juxtaposition, man. Fascinating. Oh, so you think this is a headless Lenin?
Well, if you look, he's wearing. It's got the pose.
Yeah, you're damn right.
I think it's headless Lenin.
Oh.
They do smash the heads off them before they take them down to show that they're no longer statues.
So where do you think that this statue was standing? Probably in the nearby town of Aluksne. That's definitely a possibility. So maybe they removed it from there, they took it down, and then they've decapitated it, and then they brought the body back to here.
Do you think we can carry him into the taxi? Steal
Well,
a Lenin?
the first rule of urban exploration is that you can't.
don't take.
Yeah, you're not really allowed to take stuff out.
But would they mind if we took Lenin?
Probably not. But it's funny, right? Because you've got that head over there, which is missing the body, and then you've got it, and then you've got the body right here.
Yeah, but the big head on the small body.
Dude, I really appreciate you taking me
I'm
over
good.
here.
I'm glad we came. Honestly, that photo I've just took, I've just sent it to like 4 of my friends, and they've always went, "That's the best photo you've ever taken." It makes it totally worthwhile. Absolutely. We should go explore the other place down there.
Yeah, there should
we
be
have
something more
chance.
to it. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I didn't get a chance to actually say on camera, while we were there, is that actually I'm fairly sure that Lenin is sitting on top of the launch pad. So there was a main launch pad that obviously could have been able to direct a missile all the way to the continental United States, and I'm pretty sure that Lenin is sitting, yeah, right on top of it. Like, oh, not easy. Not easy to explore former Russian nuclear bases in the middle of the Baltics. Not easy, but at least we have made it to the old residential area of the base. So all these barracks right here. So this is where the soldiers used to live. They would live in общежитиes, in like shared dormitories or proper apartments in this part of the base, and then they would go to work, well, whatever it was necessary for them to work, really. What does it say here? Zona отдыха основана в год 60-летия октября. Well, actually, it says here Zona отдыха, which makes me think that this used to be some sort of relaxing area, which, yeah, maybe it does mean that the soldiers used to come back to their apartments to just relax. I don't know what that is. It looks like some sort of station for vehicle repair or something, and I don't know where Jan is going to. It's a bit creepy now because I'm left by myself. Well, let's go and explore a few of these buildings and let's see what we can find. Let's see what happens if we were to get inside. Is it completely empty? I just need you to hold my camera, like I'm not quite sure whether I can jump over it. Also don't want to get too dirty. I'm very much of a beauty queen these days. Oh my god. Oh, that was the most unathletic jump into an abandoned building that I've ever seen, but wow. Oh, this definitely used to be the bathroom. I mean, you can see the tiles. Yeah, those used to be.
That'll be the toilets.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's definitely the toilet.
Yeah. This will be where you basically just do your business.
Pretty much, yeah. And what I always find interesting is that in every single Soviet building of this kind, which has been abandoned for 30 plus years, the only things that you will see that are still remaining and that are the most well conserved, bathroom tiles. There's literally nothing else here but bathroom tiles, especially on here where they've even conserved their color. They're still here. Yeah, and this used to be the shower, I guess.
I think this place is used by the military, the Latvian military, to practice stuff.
You think?
Well,
because this is definitely
this is a real.
Wow.
Like, this will have been fired, and those, I think they just come here and train or something. Look at the sandbag and stuff. So they're positioned in such a way that you can fire over to them.
Yeah, no, okay, I get it, but it doesn't make like this would be closed off. It doesn't make sense that it's open to the public if they're still using it. ladas and gentlemen, I've almost ran out of battery and I've almost ran out of memory on my memory card. Which means that it's time to call it a day. Thanks ever so much for joining me on this fantastic trip across the most remote areas of the Baltics. Thanks so much, Ian, for taking me on one of my craziest adventures ever. And yeah, guys, I'll see you next time. Cheers, thank you, bye.